Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Today, we are doing our paper pumpkin kit from the month of March. So this one is called Fluttering Garden, and we're going to make one of each card. So thank you for joining in. So let's pop over to my desktop, and we may have other people pop in or not. So just watch out for that. So anyway, so here's our box. And inside, of course, we have our basic gray spot, which is such a great thing to have. Basic gray can function just like a black ink pad, except it's not as harsh. So definitely basic gray is a color that people often overlook. So I highly recommend keeping that and hanging on to it. I'm going to use my full-size pad though. Okay, in here we have two stamp sets because in the month of March it's the anniversary of when Stampin' Up started Paper Pumpkin, so they always include a second stamp set in the month of March. So the set, believe it or not, the second set is the one that has the hummingbird stamps. We are actually using all the stamps on the other one. So the hummingbirds and some, we have a lovely wishing you a happy anniversary, sometimes a hard stamp to find, and then a pretty birthday wishes too on there, along with the hummingbirds and some other designs. But we're going to work with this one. So you can put your hummingbird one aside. Then you have your packet of mini dimensionals. And we have these are, I kept it up on my screen here so we could look at, well, I could tell you what it is. They are called iridescent foil gems, and they are now on the last chance list, and they are at 20% off. They're $6.40. So if you find that you like these, you might want to go and grab them. All right. So that's what we have, and let's go ahead and open our packet and sort through all of our supplies. So, put my box over here. Situating myself. Okay, so the first thing we have in our package are the beautiful envelopes that they included. And I've seen a bunch of people use these envelopes instead of as envelopes, but cutting them apart because these designs at the bottom are very pretty. So you can put those aside because we're not going to actually use them, but they are very nice. Next up, we have our sheets of already pre-stamped and pre-cut out hummingbirds. So we're going to separate them out and put them into their appropriate piles. So it's my right page. I'm just following along in our the handout that's included. So if you want to follow along as well, you can pull out your instructions and follow with me. But these, when we punch them out, let's I'm going to start. Let's start with the beautiful, okay, and then we're going to go clockwise. So go ahead and punch out beautiful, and beautiful is going to go in the pile for card number 2. Ooh, my beautiful is not coming out as easily as I'd like. Here we go. Okay. All right, so beautiful goes to card number 2. So there's my card number 2 pile. Then we have, let's go clockwise. So we've got this hummingbird. He's pointing down on our punch out sheet. And he goes to card number 3. Yep, card number 3. Then we have an upside down bird just on our punch out sheet. So when you get him out, he also goes to card number 3, as does the other little bird. Okay. So these are the smallest hummingbirds. All right, so all 3 of those are at card number 3. The the biggest hummingbird is going to card number 2. That goes with that beautiful. Don't forget the beautiful. And then the other 2 hummingbirds go with card number 1. Now, it's just easiest to sort all our supplies up front. Just makes things a lot easier. We can stamp and do the rest of it later as we assemble. All right, so just give me a thumbs up if you've got all your hummingbirds sorted out. All right, looks like we're good. Okay, so next we have actually 2 card-based designs here, 2 sets of card bases, and you're going to, these are the same, okay? So you need one for card number 2, that's the beautiful, right? And then one for card number 3. And the others you'll save for future when you go back and make the rest, okay? So those 2 are identical though. Don't be confused, you do have a lot of them. And then we have one more sheet of punch outs. We have a large thank you, and that large thank you goes with card number 3. Then we have I'm so grateful for you, and that is card number 1. We have a Mother's Day, because that's beautiful goes in the middle there. So that's what that square is. So that goes to card number 2. That has this beautiful. And then we have a banner, a plain white banner, and that banner also goes with card number 2. And then finally, we have 2 more card bases, and these are going to go with card number 1. And you'll notice that the only difference is that this has a circle that will go on the front. It's just kind of like a very pale circle. And that's all the supplies we have for this card. So, I mean, this kit. So, everybody good to go? All right, I got a bunch of nods. Great. Okay, let's start with card number 1. So, we are going to take our card and you're going to identify where the front is, okay? So the front is where that circle is. So I folded mine, but then I'm going to unfold it because we're actually stamping right on the card. And we are going to be stamping with the largest stamp, the largest foliage stamp, okay? And it does fit on a regular D block. If you're wondering, you might have to give it a little curve there, right? So just want to get it corner to corner. And it fits right on your D block, which is the same size as the paper pumpkin block that you get when you first get the kit. So then we're going to take out our ink pad. So go ahead and open your ink pads if you're not using a full-size one. And we are going to stamp it 2 times. Now remember, it's always a good idea the first time you're using one of your stamps to stamp off on a piece of paper, just to, and I'm doing it off to the side here, just to prime it, right? So I stamped it off once, and now I'm inking it up again. And we're going to go right around, we're stamping right on top of that circle. So you're not even going to see this circle. So they gave it to us as a guide. So here's the first one. So I'm stamping right around. We're going to ink it up again, turn it, and then continue on. And so it's kind of like when you make a wreath. Now note that there is a blank spot over here, but that's okay because we're going to put a hummingbird right there. So that is just 2 quick stamps right around the circle, which is a nice way to get a guide. And you can always do that. You can draw it with a pencil and then erase the marks afterwards. Or like we're doing here, we're just going to keep going. And you're not even going to know that there was a circle there because we're going to be covering up any part of it. All right. Well, we've got that down. Girls who are on camera, are we good? Is that done? Now, sometimes you have to grab your ink pads. Sharon, do you need the stamp or did you do it already? You're good? Okay, one second. Okay.
I stuck my finger in the ink pad, so I had to
Oh, no.
go wash it off. So
Okay.
go ahead. I'm fine.
So you're good? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're stamping it 2 times. Okay, great. All right, so then we're going to take everything in this kit is getting adhered with those mini dimensionals. So we will use a lot of them, but we're going to start with this circle that has I'm so grateful for you. Now, should you want a different sentiment on there, go ahead and stamp it on the other side. Okay, that's just, it doesn't have to, you don't have to go with this. Again, we have in the other stamp set, there's a anniversary one and a birthday wishes. So you could do that if you wanted to. But once you have it ready to go, you're going to put it on, and they use 3. I use 2. I feel that's enough for me, but you do you. And you're just going to put it on, and basically you're putting it where that circle is drawn, okay, underneath that we stamped over. But it's better if you get it straight. Do as I say, not as I do. There we go. So we've got that on with dimensionals. And then we're going to put 2 of the dimensionals on the back of each of our hummingbirds. I don't know why. I just keep wanting to call them dragonflies. I know that isn't correct. But for some reason, that's what I keep saying, because the other night we had dragonflies. So getting my things mixed up. One is a bird and one is a insect. They're probably about the same size though, right? Or they can be about the same size. So I just put 2 on the back of each of those hummingbirds, and the first one is going to go right into that section where we did not have anything stamped. So we're covering that up so nobody's ever going to know that it's not stamped under there. And the other one just goes at the bottom. The only thing you want to make sure of is that you are not going over the fold, okay? Because you don't want it sticking out of your card. So once you fold it, you don't want his wing to be off the fold. And then they generously gave us lots of those iridescent foil gems, which I have now lost. Right here somewhere. Let me find them. Nope. Got it right here. So we're going to use 5 on each of our cards. And on this one, they used 2 big ones and 3 small ones. And I'm just going to put the gems just so that you know where they had put them when they made the samples, or roughly in the same places. So they made a little visual triangle over here, up in the top left, and then they put down on the lower section just to keep that eye moving around the card. And that is our very simple first card. All right, and when you get that done, give me a thumbs up so I know. Got it? All right, excellent. Okay, let's go on to card number 2. So card number 2 has a few more pieces. Remember, we've got the large hummingbird, and we have a banner, and then some words. Okay, but we are also stamping on our card front. So let's go ahead, and so I folded it and then I opened it again. That's just so that I can really see where that score line is. That's just how I do it. And we're actually using the same stamp. Say, keep it on the block. I forgot. Sorry, I even took mine off the block. But we're using that same stamp that we used on our first one. And so I'm just mounting that back on. And this time we're going to go diagonally down the page. So we're going to start with the first one going like, hang on a second. Oh yeah, sorry. Just want to make sure I don't screw it up for you. So we have our first one going this way. And then we're going to turn it again and do the same thing except coming down the page. And you can have some overlap in the middle because we're going to be covering that up. But that's not all. So we're going to, once you finish stamping that, you're going to remove that stamp and you're going to take out the little swirlies. Now, to me, this is like a whole different style stamp, but the way that they use it kind of makes it just like a little creative extra. So it's this stamp. So swirlies, like flowery swirlies, if you will. And this one is just getting stamped on the left side and right side of center. I did my right side first. Right side of center and then left side of center. And that just sort of extends the design, rounds it out a little bit, not round, but stretches it out a little bit. But that is all we need to stamp on that. Let me just pick up the sample here. We can see what we're building. Okay. And then once you finish that, we're going to be putting dimensionals on the back of everything. Okay. So go ahead, turn everything over. It'll be a lot easier if we just do this all at once. Even Beautiful can get 2 of the little dimensionals because they're so tiny, and you just want to put it at the widest points. So they have 2 wide points on there. And then we'll put on our banner, we'll put 2 because that's a long banner. We're going to put a couple on our hummingbird. And then let's hold off on the rectangle that says have a Mother's Day, okay? Because I found that this, my little trick way is a little easier on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the banner, peel off the backings, and that's going to go just below center on the card, and it reaches almost to the right edge. So let me do it, and then you can see. Okay. So that's where I put it. So it's a little below center, and I've got the flag part to the right, almost to the card edge. And then we're going to take our hummingbird, remove the pieces there, and we're going to put him covering up the straight edge of the banner. We want his body to cover the straight edge, and then otherwise kind of almost upright. Okay, so that's how I have him so that he can smell the flowers, or in this case, the words. Now, because this card is using so many dimensionals, and you know how I feel about putting dimensional stuff on top of dimensional stuff, it just kind of grows higher and higher. And because we were already doing that, I want to make sure that when we put down our rectangle, we don't want the dimensional to end up on top of something else or causing an issue. So I'm going to take 2 of those mini dimensionals and put one on top and one underneath that banner. Let me hold that up. So I've got one on top and one on the bottom of the banner. One on top, one on the bottom. So that when we take our rectangle that says have a Mother's Day, we can position it so that it is pretty much flush with the the banner. Oops, sorry. I was getting all excited there. Did it wrong. Sorry. Let it fall. Okay. So we are just putting it under the beak, and we're pulling it over to towards the end of the banner, but allowing some of it to stick out. This one I did a little bit differently. I had it a little further to the edge, but however it works out for you. And then the beautiful goes on top. So you can see with all these dimensionals, you know, we've already got it going up pretty high. So instead, we can at least make sure that part is flat. And that's the end result.
Very pretty.
Mother's Day. And then we're going to use 5 of our gems. We're going to use, they used 3 big ones and 2 small ones on this one. They put 2 up here, 1 large and 1 small to the upper right. And then towards the back, they put 3 more in a triangle. So I'm going to one like that, one like this, and 1 more just coming out over here. And then that is your card. You can see that I put them up higher on this one. I don't know, I wanted to try something different, but not sure what I like. But
I like the far left one.
Yep. And that is it for card number 2. So easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. Are we all good? Ready to move on? Okay, great. All right, for our final card, we are going to stamp right on the front, and then we have our 3 hummingbirds and our big thank you. So for this one, we're using the stamp that has the flowers and grass. So this makes a nice bottom border, and the trick to this is not to start too close to the left edge. And what's nice is that you can see through the stamps, and so that you can easily line them up. So for your first stamp, I'm going to recommend that you do it. I started too close to the edge on mine, so I'm going to have you start over like maybe a half an inch over, okay? And then that way, as we stamp along, we will get to the other edge. So I'm just going to line it up, stamp it down, line it up, down. And you know, if you get it straight, that's even better. I did not this time, but it's all going to be fine. Nobody's going to care. And you want to get them lined up across. Now, this was one case where I didn't want to do the sides and then try to get the middle ones, because I wanted them to be next to each other, and even if it came out a little bit uneven, it would look better than if they had ended up overlapping in the middle. Okay, so normally I do it the other way, start at the outside, work in. This time I just worked my way across. And that is all the stamping on this card. So once you have that, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to fold my card so that I know where I'm putting my thank you. The thank you pretty much goes like right in the middle. And we're going to use dimensional, so we can use, you know, 4 or 5 on here, or 3, or however many you think. I'm going to use, looks like I'm going to use 4. 1 here, and 1 here. So these are the way, that's how I did it. You can put as many or as few as you'd like. And so we peel off the backing. It's going to go, like I said, basically centered on the card, maybe up a little bit from the bottom. It looks like that. And then we get to put down all of our little hummingbirds. So go ahead and get your dimensionals on the back of that. On each of them. And again, these are the smallest ones from the kit. And in order to keep continuity, I like for them to touch the thank you. That's just I think that is what they did on their cards, but I definitely did that on mine. So that this first one, he's almost upright, but he is going, his beak is touching the thank you. And I'm gonna pull up his tail wing. There we go. On top. Okay. Then the little guy that's pointing down, I don't know why it looks funny to me, but you can have him actually sipping right from the flower that's right next to the thank you. So he's kind of, I'm going to pull him up a little. There we go. Just make sure he's not going off, his wing is not going off the edge of your card. And then finally, this guy over here, he's going off to the left side of the card, pointing left, but we're going to make him sipping out of this little flower. That is a little bit touching the thank you part. That is the card, and then we're going to use 5 of our cute little iridescent foil gems, and they used 3 big and 2 small on this card. Somebody was here and then they're gone. I can't tell who that was. And then we'll put these here. So 2 big ones at the bottom and 1 small one. And again, in the shape of a triangle. And that finishes off that final card. So as you can see, super, super easy this time around. Giving us the gems is always fun, and people just love, love, love hummingbirds. They are very popular. So I'm sure that is why they chose to use that for spring. And by them coloring it, it makes life a lot easier, because otherwise we'd be coloring them, and they're a little hard to get designs for, I think, because they have so many colors in them. So while you're finishing up, I'm going to flip over so that we can see the alternative projects that I have found. And let me just start my slideshow. Come on, there it is. And here we go. So our first collection is from Allison Ephraim, our very own Allison, and she used the stamps and created other cards for this top layer here. And then she used the hummingbirds for these, and then creatively used the branches on these as well. So she made really good use of all the different stamps that were included in this kit. Now this beautiful here, if you were to purchase the extra the dies that you can get by being a subscriber, you would see that. And I'm just going to pull mine. I'll show you them when we come back to my desktop. I'll show you what the dies are, but that's where the beautiful came from that set of dies. Okay, next up, This is Brian King, one of my favorite designers, and he just creatively also used the different flowers using the stamps just to make the backgrounds. And he used all the different ones, and they are definitely very fun and easy to do. This one by Candy, she made it a window. So she actually cut out that circle that we had drawn after she stamped it. Then she took the Beautiful, which is, like I said, one of the dies that you can get to go with it, and put it across, and then inserted this circle is from Back to Nature or something like that. There's that set of dies. She stamped in there, and she colored her own. It's not so easy to color a hummingbird, I think. And then these flowers are from the Extraordinary Blooms, I think it's called, but that's the one that has the washi tape that goes with it. So anyway, that is how she created that. Very cool. This is where they use the envelope. This is Chris, and she cut the envelope two different ways. So she made the front, she made this panel to be her, the base for her focal point, and she colored in a little bit of that white design at the bottom. And then she also punched out these hexagon punches, and place them around so that they would be part of the background. So very creatively done. This is Jessica Brigden, and basically she made the same cards that we made, but she colored everything in. This one's a little different. This is the lilac paper that we have, but she colored in all the different stamps, and it gives it a much brighter look this way. This one from Lainey, she used the Arches dies, and she used those same Extraordinary Blossoms, whatever that one is called, with the washi tape. She used those same flowers to give her hummingbird something to sip from. Then Laura Siki, she's one of the most prolific alternative project maker for Paper Pumpkin, and she created all of these different cards. We've got some fun folds here. She just did a whole lot of fun stuff, and she has even more. This was just one set of her alternatives. I think she has 2 other sets of them. So if you look her up, you can find all of her different designs. This is Melinda Hart, and she used some of our new dies to make the background. So that's the frames that we have, and she did some just creative different ideas on there. Then Maureen, again, she just very simply, she used the punch outs that were provided, and then she just colored in the flowers at the bottom, and what a difference it makes. And of course, she mounted it onto coordinating cardstock, but definitely makes it stand out a lot more. And this is Robin Carter. Oops. So Robin, she pulled out and used this is I think Pool Party and Calypso Coral together, which is really very pretty. And I think she's pulling from the hummingbirds for that. Some fun ideas there. And this little bunny, of course, is from the product of the month from the month of March, and it is still available. So if anybody wants to grab that, they still can. Oh, and that was it. So those are all the different projects that I had found, but let's take a look at the dies that you can order. It's $12. You have to be a subscriber in order to get them, but it's a nice little collection. This makes a cute little frame, right, by making a post with that. It has some butterflies, always fun. The little flowers can never get enough. Here's where, does that say beautiful? Yes, right?
Yeah.
I think it says beautiful. No, it says wonderful. So I was wrong. Beautiful may have been the last session. I know that it was one of the dies that we've seen. This one says wonderful. But I love, love, love these little starbursts. So for, you know, America's 250th anniversary, fireworks are going to be very popular. So we're going to have a die that can do that. Imagine that in the background, sky background for your cards. So that's something that you can get. So yeah, so that is, let's see if I can change my view here. So that's what we have for today. What do you girls think? What was your favorite card out of this collection?
I think the third one for me.
Yeah, me too. Third one.
Yeah.
Right?
The second. The second one?
Yeah, the beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This wasn't my favorite kit, I have to admit.
Yep.
But it's still it's going to be very useful for sure. And I think I do like number 2 as well. It's a nice Mother's Day card, and I like the way that they layered this. So I think it looks pretty cool. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining tonight, and I'll be back next month with the next paper pumpkin on the first Thursday of the month. And also we have classes next week in person. We've got our coffee at the Ambi Coffee in Warren for anybody who wants to join us. And then, of course, the Zoom class at the end of the month. If you want to register for that, you have to do so by the 15th of the month. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out and ask. And don't forget all my lives that I do every week. So you can take a look at those too. So thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Bye. Bye.